Hello again from my front porch. Again, my sunny front porch. It's nice to have the sunny front porch back again, even if it is very toasty out here. Seriously. But, we're having a bit of a heat wave in Iowa as it is. When I say heat wave, I mean it's like up to mid-30s, like 33, 34 degrees. Now, I know, depending on where you're watching this from, you're thinking, oh, that still sounds really cold. Trust me, around here where, a week ago, we were battling several days in a row of sub-zero temperatures, and then the wind chill taking it way down from there. Like there was one day I remember it was -9 degree temperature with a wind chill of -35. If you walked outside and the wind hit you, it felt like it was -35 degrees. Whew! But even though we here in Iowa don't really like that kind of, well, I shouldn't say we, I don't really like that kind of, there are some who oddly enough do. It is nice to have the sun here now, and to have things warming up a bit. Not just here in the front porch, but outside as well, where some of the snow is starting to melt away. At least, sidewalks and roadways and driveways and stuff like that were reasonably cleared are now seeing, the little thin layer of crushed down snow that may have still been there melting away off of those surfaces too. And so that is nice. And that's a good thing. But I was out doing some errands today, and I was struck by something that has really been standing out to me a lot, increasingly, and that is driving around. I see a lot of cars that don't have license plates. And it's not like there are cars that are newly purchased. They have the little dealer tag in the back window. It wasn't that. They don't have that in the back window either. There's no markings whatsoever. Excuse me. There just isn't a license plate. And from the, right now driving around, because of everything melting and the road spray and stuff that kicks up on your vehicle, you can clearly tell there hasn't been a license plate on these vehicles for a while, because that area is now plastered with the road spray, with the dirt kicked up from the road, and there's no place where there was an outline of a license plate or anything. It hasn't been there for a while, and I sit back and I think, how is that possible? How are people able to drive around like that? When we've got so much crackdown on the laws and so many little petty things that we follow up on, I would think that is a fairly significant thing. That if you're going to operate a motor vehicle on the roadways, it has to be a licensed vehicle. Well, you have to catch them. I get that, but why does law enforcement not find those things? Why are they not caught? Now, my gut tells me it's because we've got law enforcement running around doing all kinds of other stuff. It makes me question, are those resources really being allocated in the areas that it makes the most sense? Or have we misdirected some of them to focus on things because, it's politically correct, or it's makes us feel better that the police are over here doing this instead of over there enforcing, license plates on cars. Whatever the case may be, it's a reality that it's out there. And that got me thinking of the even bigger issue that seems to be ever growing, and that is that the people who don't make don't commit the crimes, the people who don't cause the problems, the people who aren't the impetus for laws, are the ones who get punished by them. See, I've seen many people get pulled over by law enforcement who have license plates. I have honestly, I cannot think of one single time I've seen one pulled over who didn't have a license plate. Now, I'm sure it happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. What I'm saying is, I've been seeing these every single day that I go out, and not just one, multiple in traffic every single day in different parts of the city, and it's like, how can I see these and law enforcement apparently doesn't? But then I think about people who have a license plate, they get pulled over. Now, they are getting pulled over for things, obviously, other than not having a license plate. But these people who don't have a license plate, they're probably also committing infractions. And, one of the things that pops in my mind is like the speed cameras, the traffic cameras. Those things only work because when you speed through, the camera takes a picture of your license plate. And so if you go speeding through and you don't have a license plate, how is law enforcement going to follow up with you? There is literally no way for them to track you down. Which means if I have a license plate and I speed through that area, I'm getting a ticket. But that person who sped through without a license plate, they get nothing. Does that seem fair? It doesn't seem fair to me. But again, in that broader picture, I started thinking, well, what about other topics? Like, and most obvious that pops in my mind is gun control. I don't own a gun, just disclaimer here. But I also am not a rabid anti-gun person either. I know that there are millions of people out there who own guns, that there are hundreds of millions of guns out there. Well, I know that number. It's all over the internet because those are legally licensed guns, meaning those are legal gun owners. And far as I've been able to tell, the vast majority of those millions, tens of millions of people are not breaking any laws. They're not causing any problems. They're not committing any crimes. And yet, we talk now about passing sensible gun legislation, gun restrictions, gun guidelines, and reality check is the only people it's going to punish are the people who already follow the rules. Because criminals who commit crimes with guns, odds are they didn't go and legally buy that gun. They don't have it legally licensed. In fact, the FBI database, their listing of information related to this supports that overwhelmingly guns committed or guns used in committing crimes are not even owned by the person committing the crime, and they may not be owned by anybody. They may not be licensed at all. They are unlicensed, had their serial numbers filed off and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not trying to make this a gun thing. I'm just citing that as yet another example of where if we create a new law to cause restriction to be in place on guns, the only people that is going to impact are those who actually follow the law. Those who already are not the problem, but they're the ones that are going to have those penalties enforced on them. Meanwhile, those who are really the problem, the criminal element that makes use of firearms that have been acquired through creative means, they don't care. They'll continue to do what they do. And it doesn't mean that again, I don't want to make this a gun thing, but it doesn't mean that we can't talk about, sensible gun, but we need to define what that sensible word means. Because is it sensible to punish the person who isn't the problem? I don't see how that gets us any farther ahead. Just like letting the people drive around without license plates and not doing more to crack down on it. And, I could go on. There are other scenarios in which this kind of duplicity seems to take place. I don't have a solution. I'm just maybe now I'm getting in my more mature stages of life. Maybe this is what I do. I just sit on the front porch and complain about stuff that I don't know how to fix. But but still, it is something that bothers me. It's like, how is this fair? I just don't get it. But what I do know is it's a glorious sunny day here in Iowa, and it's warm and toasty out here on the front porch. I'm already literally, I have sweat on my brow because it's so warm in here, even though it's only barely above freezing outside. And I'm going to get back to enjoying it, not let myself get wrapped up with these other things that bug me. But still, I have those questions. If you have answers, if you have thoughts on that, feel free to share. I would love to hear any further insight on why these things happen. Not just license plate and guns. That's not the point. Those are just examples that I use. But this concept of why we think that we fix a problem by punishing the people who are not the problem. I don't get that. But they didn't ask me. All right, with that, I'll let you go. And I'll see y'all next time from my front porch.